Hi everybody, thank you for being here. My name is Goffredo Puccetti. I'm Associate Professor of Practice of Visual Arts at NYUAD, and it is my immense honor to be the moderator of this panel today. Before we start, just one moment. I'm really happy to be here, but it is also maybe the chance to share with you the fact that maybe I shouldn't be here. In a more just word, our late colleague Tarek Al-Hussein would be here to moderate this panel about photography. So we want to just share one salute to Tarek Al-Hussein. Thank you so much. Thank you. I would like to invite our panelists today, Ramesh Shukla and Charlie Koolhaas, to join me here. It's going to be... I'll start with a very condensed bio of our two guests today. Ramesh Shukla really doesn't need an introduction. He describes his destiny and his presence in the United Arab Emirates. Is the audio okay? Yeah, okay, sorry, I gotta, okay. His presence in the United Arab Emirates as just being at the right place, in the right time. His devotion to the nation is reflected in an amazing photographic collection that he has accumulated over the past 50 years, capturing intimate aspects of life in the Emirates. He has received way too many awards for me to mention. I will mention just one, the gold plate bestowed to him on the 26th accession day by Sheikh Zayed bin Sultan Al Nahyan. The first National Museum of the UAE, the Etihad Museum in Dubai, showcases a permanent exhibition of Ramesh Shukla's best historical photographic collection to date. Strongly recommended that you go and see it if you haven't done it already. Next to him, Charlie Koolhaas, Dutch photographer and writer. Charlie Koolhaas grew up in London, where after graduating with a BA in sociology from New York University, well done, she started her career contributing photography and writing to newspapers and magazines. Again, I'm gonna skip very quickly. An MA Interactive Media Goldsmith University. She moved to Guangzhou, China, founded and edited International Journal Unit, photographed Dubai in 2006, for the Dubai Next exhibition at the Vitra Museum in Germany in 2008. A revised edition became Dubai Then at the Third Line Gallery Downtown Pavilion in Dubai 2011. She taught visual culture theory at TU Delft and Sandsberg Institute in Amsterdam in the Netherlands. 2 books published in 2012. Another book in 2017, What Happened in Rotterdam, about her current home city in the Netherlands. Her most recent book, that I've seen somewhere, City Lust, released in 2020, is a 412-page full-color book in which, through a combination of photography and written testimony, she explored 5 linked global metropolises: London, Guangzhou, Lagos, Dubai, and Houston, cities in which she has either lived or worked. Before we start our chat, I think we have a video about our Ramesh Shukla. So you can start the video, please.
So the past 50 years, we've lived in this wonderful nation, and we've had the good fortune and the luck, I think, of meeting late Sheikh Zayed, late Sheikh Rashid, and of course Sheikh Mohammed, other leaders of the nation for so many times. And I know a lot of people in the nation, they never had the chance to meet the founding fathers. We've had that opportunity. From your pictures, but from your personal memory, from your heart and your mind. So please take me back and share with me the moments from the 60s and 70s when you were with late Sheikh Zayed and late Sheikh Rashid. Tell me those important personal moments you spent with them. What did you feel? And share with us.
I'm coming 65, slowly some expressing this Dubai, Sharjah. Making one chance, 68, is first camel race of Sharjah. So this time, I come to Mr. Habib or Mr. Abdullah Ramesh. Today go is Sharjah, first camel race of Sharjah, all Sheikh coming there.
Let's just go back 1 second. So, Sheikh Zayed came from Abu Dhabi. Sheikh Rashid came from Dubai. But the camel race is in Sharjah. So you're meeting everybody in Sharjah for the first time.
Yeah.
That's quite remarkable.
After 68 to 69, after 71.
So from that point on, you decided you're not going to go back to India.
Yeah, no.
You stayed. That was a turning moment in your life.
Yeah, I decide. My name, not top, not go to back India. 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, 10 years, 30 years, 14 years.
You stayed, but you stayed because of the words that came from Sheikh Zayed. Those pictures that you took, you just kept them for history. You didn't sell them. You didn't do anything with them. You just kept them as a history for the day to come to be part of the Etihad Museum.
This picture, I no idea that this picture, this collection today, or it's a museum. Okay, this is my all dream.
So you have a 10-year legacy from 1930s to 2010. Wow. Yeah. You've captured a lot of history in the decade. These negatives would not happen if it wasn't for your wife.
Yeah.
Because your wife was a lab technician. So you had a very interesting marriage. So she understood your passion. She understood what's important for you, and she's the one who in turn developed majority of the negatives.
Yeah. Very simple life. No craze of money. The money, all money come in roll, developers, printing, all money there. All money there. This is simple life. Lekin day night work here. My half life dark room.
What a beautiful homage to the timeline of your life at the museum, and of course, along with that, every 10 years, the decade, there is an important moment in history of the pre-UAE and the UAE, and which is detailed over here. The Founding Fathers book,
Yeah.
which we have here today. This is a book which is the friendship and the amazing union between late Sheikh Zayed and Sheikh Rashid together. We have been able to share in this book never seen pictures of the Founding Fathers from the 1960s, 70s. Each picture is absolutely breathtaking. When I go through this, every time I go through this, I touch it, each page, like example this one. I love this picture. When you look at this picture, it's amazing.
This picture, Sheikh Zayed, ice power. This man is power, UAE leader. Oh, this is my proud, my dream. I not idea that my life today or tomorrow night. But in my dream, this is my museum. Thank you, Highness Sheikh Mohammed, Sheikh Hamdan. Thank you all family. All UAE collection here. All UAE Sheikh collection here. This museum. Oh, this is my dream. My dream today finished. I'm proud. This country. More progress. Or this is 2020 years. This country is a world focus, more focus. This is my dream. The king, strong, everything strong. Sheikh Mohammed, very strong man. I respect. Thank you, Sheikh Mohammed.
Wow. I will move to Charlie and give you time to think about my next question to you.
Yeah.
Because all this was very, very polished and very professionally done. But I will ask you about seasickness, okay?
Yeah.
Because I did my investigation, and apparently there are other reasons that brought you to the UAE, okay? But before we go there, my question will be for Charlie. This is the book we are referring to. It's quite amazing. There's those 50 portraits, and each of the authors mentioned are, they have a tag, they have a kind of like a, so Charlie Koolhaas is the contemporary observer. Ramesh Shukla is the royal photographer. I have a question about this tag, contemporary observer. Well, first of all, I would like to actually frame it in two parts. First is what brought you to cast your eyes on the UAE, in such a vast word, in the first place. And secondly, I would like to propose some kind of amendment to this definition, because an artist and a photographer does more than just observing. Is there a call for action, a sparkle for conversation in any of your photos?
Well, I really was so happy to work on the 50EU book because I had realized that I'd nearly photographed Dubai for 20 years before this. And so when I went on the assignment to photograph for the 50EU, I suddenly realized that I was no longer observing and I was no longer a stranger, but actually Dubai was really a friend and I had a real relationship, and it was a city that I had, in a sense, seen grow up. And in this book, these photographs I've taken here were very different from my previous photographs because they really show a mature Dubai, an aged Dubai, things that when I first started photographing, like signs of decay, didn't exist. And suddenly there was these kind of layered histories. I suddenly realized that the style of the buildings and the style of the fashion that I had experienced, the city style, when I first got there, was now old-fashioned, and I could take photos of it like, oh, I remember that's what it used to be. So of course, photography is a building of a relationship, and I always love taking photos because it forces you into a relationship with the environment, but also with the people, because you can't go on the street, can't photograph a person without really engaging them. So it's the kind of ultimate way of creating engagement, and it's the ultimate reason for being somewhere and a reason for going deeper. So I think with photography, you're forced past the kind of superficial layer. Yeah, so, but I also think, for me, when I first came to Dubai in 2006, so it was the beginning, I came for the first art fair. And it was a moment when Dubai was like massively in the news and getting all this attention because it was kind of exploding, and it had opened its doors to all these foreigners and expats, and so everyone knew Dubai because people were like flooding there. But yet at the same time, a very superficial picture was being churned out, you know, and it was also a very critical and maybe an almost jealous kind of attitude from the Western press, which was talking about Dubai as being very superficial and all about money or all about shopping, or the superficial elements were the ones that were being emphasized. But when I got to Dubai and I went to the art fair and I saw that actually there was this kind of amazing range, diversity of perspectives and art I'd never seen before, and all these subjects that were being talked about that I hadn't heard talked about. So I suddenly saw the depth. And so for me, it was really important to look at Dubai, the opposite, you know, to provide a kind of narrative about the city which was different from the Western press at the time. And so for me, what's always important, because we mostly encounter photography in the news and in press, and so I think what a photographer and an artist can do is, or what we're responsible for, is all of those other stories that aren't told in the news, you know, to tell those stories.
Thank you so much. Talking about then how to, you know, gaze or cast your gaze to this country. Again, it seems that you got a camera when you were a kid.
Yeah.
And then you embark on a boat.
1 minute, my camera.
Okay. Oh,
No,
you have it
bag,
here?
bag.
Okay, I didn't
वो बैग भी लाना.
Wow.
वो बैग ला, काला बैग ला. ले काम है थोड़ा. बैग.
Okay. Wow.
Wow.
This is amazing. So you got this camera as a present.
This is I'm 15 years,
15
India,
years.
My happy birthday. He tell me, my papa, which gift for you? Some money, some here, no papa. My one dream, please one camera. My father. Well, camera? This time, 60 years, 60, papa is very expensive. This is Rolly car.
Yeah.
Papa, please, one camera gift. My papa, this time, designer, little money.
I know that.
Germany, this my papa, Germany. My dream, my papa, won this camera, happy birthday gift. Thank you, papa. My papa is this time promise, okay, papa, this camera, I promise, this camera is a world focus. My papa's, world focus, you crazy? Papa, I promise. My age, 115 years. After, go to India, start, Kashmir, Taj Mahal, your life catch up, this camera.
Yeah.
After, one decide, India company life catch up, this camera. After my plan, change, okay, first visit which country near. After one Dwarka boat, I decide Dwarka boat or go to Bombay. Bombay, I 23 magazines, Times of India, all magazines, reporter, photography, live, expose. First tour, decide Dwarka. My pocket, 50 rupees. 50 rupees, this camera. 50 rupees or some black and white roll, go to, or 2 dozen banana. Okay, ship, very vegetarian man.
Okay.
I go to ship, my son Neil, 3 years. 3 years. My son go to ship, 4-5 days ship start, my brain not working. First time like this. 5 days come in Sharjah airport. Sharjah, not airport, ship stay there, one small. So 3-4 people, my body at up or go to ship down, Sharjah.
So if I understand correctly, you wanted to see the world, but it was unbearable to stay on. Okay.
After I Sharjah, I sleeping there. This camera, one banyan, roll. After everybody go, stamp, everybody go. 40, 50 people go Sharjah, stamp. One chair, Sharjah, one chair. Or one table, stamp, go to here. After 2 hours, my eyes open. Oh, no anybody. I start go. Inside. After 10, 15 minutes, one police, one come, Arbi. You which man? I first time come in. You give me passport? I passport see. No stamp. Papa, no stamp. No, I have no idea. I'm sleeping, my hell. This Arab man, some policeman, back Sharjah, one table, stamp coming, tuck, table, or is okay, man, not okay. This man, small motorcycle, tuck, 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 back side, this man, your house, one tablet, I sleeping, 2 hours, or one banana, I'm vegetarian, so some fruit, 2 hours, are you okay? Madam, okay, test body, okay, good. Thank you, my friend. I love you. First, support my life, this man. I am proud. This support, after Sharjah to slowly go to Dubai.
So that was, sorry, that was 1968?
Yeah, 65.
65.
65.
Okay.
After go to, no money, little money here, go to Dubai, Sharjah. After one chance, 68, one chance, one man, one Mr. Habib, military grade man, one Abdullah, Ramesh go to Sharjah, go to camel race. First camel race, the Sharjah. Every sheikh come in. This time, no one cycle. One cycle
so
purchase.
You took the bicycle to Sharjah?
Dubai to cycle, Sharjah, no road, 4 hours. Lekin this time, I'm young man. Start, 3 hours, 4 hours, go to Sharjah. After, everybody is one, Sheikh Zaid come in, Sheikh Sharjah, Sheikh Fujira. See Sheikh Zaid, my eyes. So, open camera. You camera, see, Sheikh Zaid, oh, this man, Sheikh Zaid, wall, tak. Sheikh Zaid, no, before Sheikh Zaid 2-3 times, lekin this best chance. Everybody sitting, I am sitting. Or Sheikh Zaid picture, 4-5 picture, After back cycle, go to Dubai. Second day, come in, 2-3 photograph, Sheikh Zayed, Sheikh Rashid picture, cycle start. After coming, this picture, Sheikh Zayed, see, Tal, Sheikh Zayed. Oh, this is very good picture. Minus this sign. Sheikh Zayed, give me pen, signature. Sheikh Zayed, you know me, Sheikh Zayed, for one picture you, big picture, big sign. Sheikh Zayed tell me, yo Pannan. Sheikh Zayed tell. Yo Pannan? Or one pen Sheikh Zayed gift for you.
Okay.
Or this time, my life start. Before I visit 2 months, go back. Lekin one Arab people love, Sheikh Zayed love, 68. Everybody Arab people, eyes for or good love me. You love, Ramesh start my camera. 68, 69, 70, 71.
May I stop you here?
Ah.
Because I will have a photo reel. I mean,
Yeah.
Either we decide we go all night long because it's fantastic,
Yeah.
but I have to stop you here. We try
Yeah.
to go back now. It's so
Yeah.
very difficult.
Yeah.
But I want now to go back to the present, and I'll move to Charlie again. But wait, there is a photo roll, okay, for
Yeah.
your photo. Your book, Charlie, your essay, the essay that is in the book, the essay that made you in the city last, is about Dubai. When you turn your eyes and the camera to Abu Dhabi, anything that struck you as different or was worth noticing?
Well, I came to Abu Dhabi in 2006 as well. And I mean, I think what's amazing about the UAE is the kind of totally different natures and different characters of all the different emirates. And of course, Dubai maybe is the most obvious and the most famous because it has maybe the most now particularly influencers photographing it. So it is a very well kind of recorded place. But of course, yeah, I see Abu Dhabi as a much more subdued maybe and more serious and more cultural, I imagine.
Yeah.
But yeah, but that's what's extremely exciting about this region is that in just 45 minutes, you have these totally different worlds with different focuses.
One aspect that's super interesting of your books, of course, you are a photographer and a writer. The island, Saadiyat Island, the island we stand on, aims to become a place probably like no other on a global scale. A distinctive part of this equally distinctive urban reality, to take a definition from your book. Can you elaborate further on the concept of urban realities and how do you see the challenges here, or the challenges for these urban realities, continuous growth and expansion?
Wow. Well, I think the thing about urban realities, so I photographed different urban conditions and different urban realities, and what I found is that a kind of, to me, there is these urban realities which are always, you know, a layering of different cultures and histories. But then what I find interesting and what I've looked for in my work is also the kind of urban reality, which is a kind of global urban culture. And I think that in my lifetime, an urban culture was born out of city life. And it was kind of formed in cities like London and New York, and it created, you know, things almost that became a kind of universal, maybe global culture. Maybe global culture is a certain urban reality. So there are certain urban conditions that we all live with. And so I found in my work, I not only look for all the different ways in which different cultures kind of each city now, you know, in every city in the world, you'll have a Chinatown, and you'll have maybe an Africa town, and you have, you know, yoga studios, and you have Brazilian restaurants, you know, so you could almost say that every city is a conglomerate of different places, and we are now living in a kind of collaged cities that are composites of different urban realities that have been imposed. And I think Dubai is one such, you know, you can see that, and in my work I've definitely looked for all of these different different conditions that have looked like a collage. And yet, we all, you know, we can go to any city, and that has meant that in any city in the world, we can kind of we can all go to IKEA, and we can all, you know, there's a certain kind of universalism, and I think that is extremely interesting. And yet, I see that still, and particularly in the 50U book, what I really saw is that even though we have maybe a kind of universal aesthetic, so the skyscraper, and you know that appears, or the golden skyscraper. I photographed a golden skyscraper in almost every city in the world, you know, in Lagos, in every big city, and yet Dubai has really crafted its own aesthetic and its particular style, which is a kind of, you know, it's almost about the curves and amount of curves, and about its kind of subversion, very subtle subversion from this kind of universal generic, you know, so when you're here, you know you're here now. And it's a very kind of subtle adaptations, maybe, of something more universal.
Thank you. I'm taking a mental note to invite you again in 5 years when Abu Dhabi will be more famous than Dubai. But,
yeah, I look forward to that.
Let's go back to Ramesh, and actually this question can be turned to both of you. Your story as a photographer, you know, I check, it's above all, it's about a story of the craft, a devotion to the craft. You mentioned in one interview that you calculated that more than half of your life has been in the darkroom, developing films.
Yeah.
Now technology has affected, of course, a lot of media, and probably has transformed photography more than any other media. What would be your advice, say, to young students of photography nowadays, if they want to learn and practice and maybe do what you did? You know, now that technology changed, is there any something that transcends the technology in the skill of a photographer?
Yeah. This camera rolled black and white. 120 negative, negative. Sometimes here difficulty color roll, nothing. So sometimes 50, 60 roll, many that supply, some London here supply. After roll, every day start my life. Landscape, creek, view, life, people, all people, life start. After some time, one day, 5 roll, 10 roll, black and white. Night, go to my house. Only one small room, 10 by 10 feet, my house. Sleeping there, cook there, kitchen there, or 1 fruit thali, one plate, 3 plate, my house. No light. No electric. After night, this plate, lunch, me, my son, my wife, lunch. Night, start wash.
Developing.
One hypo, one chemical, one water, rolls, right? 1 o'clock, morning, 10 o'clock start, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, 8, 10 roll, expose. Inside my wife, outside. 1 roll develop, 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 roll, cancel, hypo. Developer, hypo. This, like this, 1,000 roll, develop, expose, night house, or export. This time my son, 3 years, another place. Beta, go to outside, another my friend place, me or my wife. Is big support. My wife, I love you. Long time, my wife here.
Thank you on behalf of.
One book, 3 book. Bag. It's a one surprise. Bag. Yeah.
Okay.
This one book, my world famous.
Okay.
This book, first black and white, 65 to 75. This Abu Dhabi, 72. This picture all black and white, or this picture signature George Bush, America president.
Not showing off, right?
Yeah, George Bush, Clinton, George Bush, Jimmy Carter, everybody, 23 president world. My book gift, many book gift. Lekin George Bush very happy. Or this is picture life. This is my life start. Or one all. This is record. This picture, there is no market. This backward. This picture, or this picture life of UAE, or this picture. Me, this boy here, Neil, 55 years, this boy here, America to come Dubai.
Okay.
This is my wife there. This history, life.
So if
Or this book, record, bestseller.
I'm sure.
This book, bestseller, after this another book.
Allow me.
This new book, this man, water, NASA Square, this man supply water my house. My house, no electric, no water. This man supply water my house, this life. This book, or last book, Sheikh Zayed. Last book, Sheikh Zayed, this is bestseller, Sheikh Zayed signature. This one, one surprise, Expo.
Okay, yeah.
20,
Your photo.
25 million copy. This time, this picture, Ramesh, 25 Mr. Ramesh. 25 million. Or this another, this photo. This supply, currency, new currency.
Your photo. So
Or
if
this is
yeah.
photo, or this currency, 500 currency, new currency, 500, all supply. Or this my, or second, this is my museum.
Okay.
This is my dream, my museum.
So now I will try to condensate his answer, because my original question was, do you have some kind of advice? And the answer obviously is no. You have to be Ramesh Shukla in order to become Ramesh Shukla. So
First support 60 years Sheikh Zayed. I love you, Sheikh Zayed. Support Ramesh, your Fannan, any requirement after Sheikh Muhammad, Sheikh Hamdan, all Sheikh, all love me. I decide here. This is life.
yeah, that's you, right?
Yeah, this signature Sheikh Zayed.
Yeah. I will get back to your photos
Yeah.
again.
Can I ask you a
Yeah,
question?
please.
When did you start shooting in colour, and why did you change?
For you, a question.
For a question, when did you start shooting in colour, and why did you?
Color.
Yeah.
No really color. Nothing, no really. Black and white.
So you didn't change because your
Difficult.
latest book has colour.
No,
in it.
sometimes London to order. London to please roll. Like 60, 65, not here studio. Only one studio. Or second studio, my house. No roll, nothing. Develop there slowly, color roll, color. No studio, only one studio. One of my friend.
Yeah.
Lekin sometime 5, 10 roll. Lekin my subject black and white. 4,000 roll I develop. 2,000 roll no develop my house now. No time.
So if I understand correctly, there are
No time.
3,000 of roads undeveloped.
Yeah.
Okay. The address of your house again? No, sorry. Okay. Okay.
So
we got to do something about it. Yeah? Okay. Yeah.
Can
please.
I go back to? Can I answer?
Please.
Try that question, because when you talk about the story of photographing, taking this opportunistic moment where Sheikh Zayed comes, and that's what a photographer has to be. He has to be an opportunist. You know, you have to be quick. You have to do while you're like looking. And when I hear your story, it's how unimaginably difficult that must have been compared to my job with a digital camera. But I also think that there is something very different that comes out when you can shoot on digital rather than film. You know, and there was a shift that must have happened, that suddenly when you had a digital camera, you no longer needed to take something important or relevant, you know, and you could also take the thing that wasn't happening or the thing that wasn't at the center. So it was a kind of defocusing maybe. And I think maybe also, if you look at my photos of Dubai, and that shows very much, it's about the irrelevant, it's the forgotten, it's the cracks in the street, the garbage, all the kind of things that usually would never have been photo worthy. I think that comes out of the kind of technology, basically.
But the quality of being an opportunist that transcends technology. So
Sorry?
That the skills of being an opportunist that transcends technology.
Yeah, because speed is still always the most important, and this kind of like acting and thinking at the same time. But obviously for me with a digital camera, it's so much easier. Okay. Or at least you can immediately assess that moment, whereas Mr. Ramesh must have nothing, he had no idea what he had taken, and I can't imagine a scenario like that of not being able to check, so it's interesting.
Thank you. I wrote down a note that, you know, photos speak for themselves and no commentary is needed in front of a truly exceptional photo. I can think of one exception to this rule, and it is when you happen to be sitting next to the artist and you really, really, really want to hear all the backstage stories behind the photos. So we are now we have some 8 or 9 photos on a reel, and I would like you to comment briefly. Yeah. So where are we here in this photo?
This is Sharjah, first camel race, 68. This picture is my life, Sheikh Zayed's signature. Same time is gold pen gift, or Sheikh Zayed, your panna.
So this is when he told you, I think you should hang around for a while. Yeah. Okay, I have plans. Something might happen. You should be around. With
Sheikh Zayed is very near. Too much love me. Sheikh Zayed, Sheikh Rashid, Sheikh Mohammed, Sheikh Fujira, all 7 kings love me. Perfect. Too much love me. I love this country.
Not too much. Just the right amount of love.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. This is
68 Sharjah.
That's the famous camel.
Camel race. Okay. This picture, camel race. This time, I be sit down. Sometimes slipping the picture. So Sheikh Zayed look me. Yeah. These photographers different ideas. Slipping.
I have to say, I'm not an expert in photography, but judging from the photo,
68 Sharjah.
This is a very risky shot. Because it looked to me that you are exactly in the way of the camels.
Camel race. Yeah. Sheikh Rashid, Sheikh Fujira, all Sheikh 68, this picture, go camel race. 3-day completely, this is very famous picture.
Fantastic. Now we move in time and space. Where are we and what's going on here?
Okay, so this is Dubai in 2007, and so this was my my first assignment for the Vitra Design Museum, the arts and culture. We'd been invited to by the Dubai Arts and Culture Authority to make an exhibition about Dubai, because it was this moment, as I said, when the world's kind of attention spotlight came on the city, and yet it was kind of unknown. And one of the things they wanted me to ask me to photograph is the way in which all these, how all the different cultures and all the foreign cultures that had appeared, how they were managing to live together and side by side, you know. So this, for me, firstly, totally epitomized the way in which Emirati culture had allowed, you know, very differing cultures, very different belief systems, ideologies and religions, how they had accepted it to agree to live together in this one social plane. And what my thesis in the end became was that there is a kind of model of multicultural togetherness that is unique to the region. And in fact, this region or this picture proves that, and I show often this picture when I'm talking to a European audience, and I say, okay, so this is legal in Dubai, but in France, this is illegal, right? Because the hijab has been outlawed. So what it proves is that this region is actually the most tolerant. You know, it has the more tolerant than Europe, you know, more, so that it's a kind of new version of living together. And yet what I also saw was, rather than all these cultures integrating and coming to an agreement on one way to live, that actually everyone was allowed to live their very separate lives and without interference. And somehow the key to this coexistence was just simply letting people be and non-interference, you know? So I came up with this, and I talk about it in my book here. It's about how, in a way, there's a kind of new type of multiculturalism, which is not about agreement, which is about kind of separation and agreed separation.
Thank you. Okay, first a question for the audience. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Which one is missing? Okay, good. Where are we now?
Yeah, this time, this is my best time. This camera, 71. You Habib tell me, Ramesh, go. This is 71. You go to Dubai. You surprise this education minister, everybody, Abdullah, go to camera ready, 71, Union House.
Yep.
Go, go, inside go, 7 o'clock morning, you go to, oh, Sheikh Sharjah come in, Sheikh Fujira come in, Sheikh Malgoin come in, Sheikh Zayed come in. Oh, Fannan man, yes, Sheikh Zayed, Fannan man. Because before Sheikh Zayed contact me. After one Sheikh, everybody sitting, one Sheikh not come in. Russell Kima Sheikh not come in. I inside feeling. I feeling 2 minutes, lekin I not talk like this. Surprise, after all table, sign, Sheikh Zayed, they start pen, like the pen. I, Sheikh Zayed here, my camera, 2 feet here. Everybody out, only Ramesh. Pannan man. Sheikh Zayed, this pen, sign, open camera. Papa, this camera, Sheikh Zayed, my hand, duck. My luck, this camera, Sheikh Zayed. Or this signature finish, Sheikh Zayed look, me, I know.
You know, I think...
Oh, this is my dream. Why? This signature, one family together, 71. After 6 months, Sheikh comes, Rasul Kema Sheikh, to join 7. Like in this time, I am very happy. I am very happy that all UAE together. Sheikh Zayed dream. Before Sheikh Zayed or Sheikh Rasid dream. Before many meetings to Sheikh Rasid, Sheikh Zayed. Sheikh Zayed or Sheikh Rasid dream that UAE together. So 71, 2nd December, Sheikh Zayed, Sheikh Rasid dream finished. All one family together. I am proud.
Yeah.
I am very proud. My camera, my luck, with this camera focus,
Our luck.
Sheikh Zayed.
I'm developing my theory that, you know, seeing this man so healthy and young at heart and his mind, that sickness story, that maybe was like kind of like God sent, you know, a thing like, no?
I'm
You were meant to be in the UAE.
million photograph. Before they tell me, Sheikh Mohammed, I'm ready, 25,000 collection, I'm exhibition, world record, I'm ready. Too much collection. My collection, my wife, glass, my son problem, everybody, Papa. Sometimes, Papa, please, camera close. No, no close.
Not
Camera
yet.
not close.
Not yet.
And my principal, my life, see in a wall interview. My principal, 100 year, I'm no retired. 100 year, my life start. This is my life
Absolutely,
principle.
absolutely. This is rehearsal. Now things are getting serious.
Yeah.
Okay.
This life not come back. So this life use my body or world focus. Life my now start. Nothing. My life start now. I'm strong. 100 years, no retire.
Perfect, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's see what we have next.
Yeah.
Another change in time and space.
Yeah. So this is a plastic recreation of the ships of the explorer Zheng He. Does anyone know who that is? So that is the explorer. I was living in China when I first came to Dubai, and I was living in the production capital of the world. And what was really interesting when I came here was, or what I was interested in, was the presence of China and the importance of this place in the connection between China and Africa. And actually, what I realized when I saw this was that this connection, this idea of being the hub between China and Africa, was actually a very conscious understanding of history. And this was the ship of the explorer, the Chinese explorer who traveled to Africa in 1424, and who actually, according to Chinese history and now increasingly global history, is the explorer that first discovered America 50 years before Christopher Columbus. And when I learned about this history in China, I realized that this moment of a kind of globalization is not new to us. This has happened before, and of course this was maybe a naive perspective, but this was a naive perspective of someone with a European education. And actually what I had learnt, in fact, by being in China and being outside of Europe, is that European colonialism had in fact disrupted this incredible global network of which this is a kind of monument, you know? So it was very exciting to me to see this, because I suddenly realized that very consciously, not only was the region interested in kind of creating maybe sort of disempowering or creating new versions of global and historical narratives, but that it was also, you know, understanding its role and reinstating its role in the connections between the rest of the world. So that's what this represented to me.
And this is the Ibn Battuta Mall, right?
Yeah.
This one. Shall we leave it like this? No need to comment?
Too much comment.
Too
This
much.
picture, you're surprised. Sheikh Ratis, Sheikh Zayed, sometimes smiling, sometimes moved, sometimes I'm joking.
Okay.
Huh? Sometimes I'm smiling like this. So Sheikh Rasid, Sheikh Zayed, too much smiling. This picture, Sheikh Rasid, millions stamp this picture.
Wow.
This Sheikh Rasid stamp, millions, Sheikh Muhammad select. This picture, my father, best picture, 10,000 pictures selected, this picture, Sheikh Rasid smiling. Poster stamp, millions, Dubai. Another big stamp, poster stamp, this picture, Sheikh Rasid. Is proud. Sheikh Zayed, stamp, currency there, museum, all metro station, all collections, Sheikh Muhammad life.
It's amazing.
So I love people, life, king, love everybody. I love world. Like in this country, I surprised. My house, no electric, today, this country. This time I'm coming, only 20 country people Dubai, only 20. Today 220 country Dubai. I'm proud.
Amazing.
Yeah, is my luck. Yeah. Today my 23 camera start. My father camera today wall focus, CNN, baby, wall focus, this camera. My father up, Papa, thank you very much. You camera, wall paper today.
Thank you very much. This child, I think this is incredible, this photo.
Yeah, so this is the Dubai art, and this was in 2007, so it was, 2006 I think was the first art fair. And so I had always been interested in the way in which the kind of art world has a kind of impact on cities, you know, and so one of the things I'd noticed in London, and I'd previously lived in New York, that the art world had always been actually a tool for gentrification. So what happened is that art areas which were poor areas or immigrant areas were then inhabited by artists, and they would be changed. And it was kind of felt like quite a destructive, or not all the way positive, industry to be part of, in fact, in this moment. And when I came to Dubai, it was so exciting because suddenly I was seeing a kind of, art was really a place of political conversation and diversity, and also a very feminine space. It was very, you know, interesting that it, you know, whereas in London we were in the pawns of the kind of developers, this was where women ruled, and that was a kind of exciting space, so I tried to record that. Yeah, and so this is a photograph of an Indian man in one of the dormitories for the laborers. And so I went into the labor camps in 2007, and I did that because a lot was being made about the kind of exploitation of the laborers. And so I wanted to see it for myself, and we put this in this exhibition. And so I think, in a sense, why our perspectives are, this photograph shows you the kind of different demographic that I've been photographing, and really also in photographing maybe the least empowered people here. And yet what I found when I went here and when I interviewed this guy was very much that same kind of unity, that same new unity between people of different cultures and different religions that I'd found in all of Dubai, I found there as well. So it said, and so this guy has told me very proudly that he was in a dormitory with 15 people with 15 different nationalities, and that they had all found a way of living together. And yet he showed me these pictures of his family who he hadn't seen in years. And it said very much to me, this picture speaks of what globalization is, the kind of joy and the pain. So at once there are these new forms of alienation where we are forced to live in other parts of the world, and people are cut off from their family. And at the same time, a kind of new unity, new togetherness that overpowers maybe traditional or tribal distinctions.
Architecture.
Yeah, and this is the photograph from a 50U book, and to me this says, you know, very much that this is unmistakably the UAE. You know, and this is it shows that, this is what I was talking about, how these styles, when I first got here, people were talking about how Dubai was wanting to be Western, how Dubai was wanting to be like other cities. And now you can see that Dubai has its own style, it is itself, you know? And in fact now, other places are wanting to be like Dubai. And maybe we could go to the next photograph. And so I remember when I first came, and all malls in 2006 were like American malls, because Americans had invented malls. And recently I went to a mall in the Netherlands, and it was in a small town in the Netherlands, and they'd built a Dubai-style mall. And so that, for me, is really interesting, that the transition, that Dubai has become the model, and now we are trying to be like Dubai. And I think that's a kind of the book, the 50U book, and my photos in it really mark that transitional moment.
It's good reflection. Reflection is very good. Reflection.
Reflections,
Yeah.
And that mall is full of reflections. And this was a photograph that I took in 2011, and it was just post the crisis. So when I was here in 2006, 2007, it was filled with building sites, but the building sites have scaffolding around them, and they were a sign of the wealth and the power shift. And then in 2011, I came back, and suddenly building had been halted because of the global crisis, and the scaffoldings were removed, and the same buildings were kind of slowly collapsing. Yeah. And so it was really interesting to me that the same photograph, a photograph of a kind of building being built, or in one sense, in one moment is potential, and as the next is a kind of crisis. And this photograph represented the looming crisis, and it was supposedly the end of Dubai. And it means something completely different now, 12 years later, because Dubai is still triumphant, it's still building, and it's kind of regained its power. So this photograph represents what we were talking about, this past, present, future, the kind of how in a space of 10 years, the meaning of a photograph can change so dramatically.
This is a photo I took with my mobile phone in Al Rois 2 weeks ago for two purposes. First, to tweak my CV. So from now on, I will be able to say that I showcase photos next to Ramesh Shukla and Charlie Koolhaas. Technically, that won't be a lie. But I mean, I'm an amateur in photography. My field is visual communication, and this is what's happening in the UAE. Is the appropriation of icons. This photo, of course, the display of a sticker of, there's a banner with Sheikh Mohammed, the iconic sticker of Sheikh Zayed with the raven, and Che Guevara, no less, transcends any political connotation. We are here into the redesigning a representation, the iconicity of hero, of coolness. It's super amazing what's happening. By the way, the Al Ruwais, Al Dhafra region, I strongly recommend to go and visit, because it gives you also a feeling about the UAE that is unexpected and different from what you can see, for example, in Dubai or Abu Dhabi. But I will go back to one of photos of yours, maybe this one, for one last question, and then I will open the floor to questions. We're going to see a short video, and then we'll open the floor. Because there's something, just two quotes that I found from you, Charlie, perusing your bios and etc. The first one, it says, my photographs do not portray a ruined world or globalization gone mad. On the contrary, it shows creative moments and unexpected possibilities. It shows creative that makes way for an optimism that our cynicism about globalization has taught us not to expect. Most of all, I hope that people see my work as funny, because I look for weird conditions and humorous moments. I think that serious messages are always delivered best with humor. That's something I personally subscribe. And the last thing, but now this one is serious. It would be great if we managed to conclude by tackling this serious issue with some humor. That's a quote from you from 10 years ago. And you said, there's enormous pressure within the art world to explore concepts of identity of all kinds. If you're black, you are under the pressure to make work about that. If you're Muslim, there's a pressure to talk about that, and so on and so on. For some reason, the world has become obsessed with labels, just when labels are more irrelevant than ever, because no one exists as one thing anymore. We all have multiple identities. But the art world, this is the nasty part, will only support you if you stand under a banner. You can't get funding from anyone unless you can squeeze yourself into a category. That was 10 years ago, so you were really present. And here we are in a country where the whole idea of tolerance, of opening, it's really challenging, this approach. What's your last take? I mean, do you still believe that 10 years after?
Yeah, definitely, and I agree that it's like more than ever. And I think somehow because we are losing our identities, we reach for them even more than before. But I think what was interesting to me about Dubai and about this kind of diffusing of identities, in a sense, it was unique because everyone I met had a very strong culture and a very strong links to traditions and cultural traditions, and yet everyone was from somewhere else. So if you talk to anyone here, they were born somewhere else, born somewhere, the parent is, and you never meet two people with exactly the same background, or at least I haven't, you know? So it showed to me that this kind of cultural diffusion of identities, or this, that everyone's at once mixed and yet still very connected to a culture. So it's the fact that our identities are being maybe lost or changed. This area proves that it doesn't have to come with a loss of culture, in fact, you know?
Thank you so much. Okay, now we conclude with one very, very short last video about your craft, and then I'll open the floor to questions. There will be mics circulating. Can we start the video, please? Thank you.
To get from desert to this didn't happen overnight. It involved the melding of rulers, their lands and their people. And it all came together when this country was created in 1971.
There you are. Yeah, Ramesh Shukla.
Ramesh Shukla is an Indian photographer. He was present when Dubai threw its lot in with 6 other sheikdoms and created the UAE, the United Arab Emirates.
This is like Dubai. It's completely changed. This is man in life.
His lens has borne witness to the growth over 5 decades.
When you got here in 1965,
65.
what was it like? What was here?
Or this is 50 roll black and white.
I arrived with 50 rolls and my camera. When I first arrived, there was nothing. There was no proper roads, only desert. I felt it was not a modern city. There was no running water and no electricity. Nothing. This was real life, very simple. I began to capture this life.
Arriving from Mumbai with less than $1 in his pocket, Ramesh has taken photos of everything from daily life to some of the city's momentous occasions.
Let's see the #1 photograph.
This is my best collection. There.
And this is his most famous photograph, a symbolic image of when the country was created.
This is a great photograph.
Yeah. This is Sheikh Sharjah, Sheikh Rashid, Sheikh Said, Sheikh Ajman, Sheikh Fujira, Sheikh Malgoin. This is national logo.
Ramesh Shukla puts huge emphasis on the eyes, and you can see why with these pictures of the founding fathers, where the eyes seem to follow you as you move past. I have a request. Will you take a photograph of me?
I'm proud. Thank you. Yeah.
Ramesh has been incredibly successful in his art. He stands as an example of how the environment here prospers those who come with a dream.
Charlie Koolhaas, Ramesh Shukla, everybody. Thank you so much.
Thank you.